In this movie, I'll introduce you to the three auto commands. They're all under the image menu, and they include these guys right here: auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. Each one of them automatically adjusts the luminance levels inside an image on a channel by channel basis. You just choose a command and it does its thing. If you like the result, you keep it. If you don't, you press Control Z or Command Z on the Mac and try something else. Now, the reason I'm showing you these commands is not because they're terribly powerful. In fact, as I'll demonstrate throughout this chapter, there are better ways to work. However, people do use these commands. Adobe collects click data from Photoshop users who buy into their analytics program, and that data suggests that these three commands rank among the top 10 used features inside the software. So I'd like you to at least understand how they work. So I've set up this demo that includes some high-value currency, which I've cropped so, you guys stay out of trouble. The first image is the control image up here in the upper left corner. That's the one that we're going to leave alone. The other ones are labeled after the three auto correction commands. All right, so I'm going to start off by zooming into the lower left image, which goes with the first command, auto tone. I'll also select the auto tone layer here inside the layers panel, and then I'll go up to the image menu and choose the auto tone command. Now, what Photoshop's done in this case is it's evaluated each channel independently, and it's made the darkest pixel black and the lightest pixel white on a channel-by-channel basis. So in other words, each channel is affected differently. And as a result, we get rid of the original green color cast, and we turn it into a different color cast. And so now the shadows, by which I mean the dark lines in the engraving, now have a reddish cast, where previously they had a greenish cast, and where the paper was previously green, it now appears mostly gray. So in other words, auto tone is good when you want to remove an undesirable color cast. However, in our case, we like the color cast because a $100 bill is actually green, which means that this command is not the one we're looking for. All right, so I'll just go ahead and scroll to the upper right corner where we have the auto contrast bill, and I'll click on the auto contrast layer here inside the layers panel, and then I'll go up to the image menu and choose auto contrast. And you're going to see a more subtle modification. This is what the image looked like before. This is what it looks like now. And so we definitely have more contrast in the image. But what Photoshop has done is pretty much what we saw before with auto tone, except it's done the same thing to each and every channel. So it's made the darkest pixel as dark as it can get, and the brightest pixel as bright as it can get without changing one channel differently than another, which means that this command never affects the color cast. So if you like the color cast of the image and you just want to increase the contrast, then auto contrast is the way to go. All right, finally, I'm going to scroll down to auto color, which is the most complicated of the bunch, and I'll go ahead and click on the auto color layer as well here inside the layers panel, and then I'll go up to the image menu and choose auto color. Now this time what Photoshop has done is it's located the darkest pixel in the composite image and turned it a neutral black. Then it located the brightest color in the composite image and turned it a neutral white. And then it did its best to locate the most representative midtone pixel, and it turned it a neutral gray. This isn't always the way it turns out. But in the case of our money, we have some neutral shadow lines, we have these neutral highlights in the paper, and we have neutral gray values throughout, except in those areas where we had an awful lot of color, as in the case of this treasury stamp, the serial number, and these large digits down here in the lower right corner. All right, so I'll just go ahead and press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to zoom out so that you can see all four of the bills, the unmodified one in the upper left corner, the auto tone modification in the lower left, the auto contrast in the upper right, and the auto color down here in the lower right. Of the three, auto contrast ends up producing the best result where this particular image is concerned. But as we'll see in the next movie, things can work differently with a continuous tone photograph. And that's my overview of the three auto functions, auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color, here inside Photoshop.